Hi, my name is Elliot Hughes.
Speak up.
Hi, my name is Elliot Hughes. I've been an activist since I was 10 years old. I've been working with anti-war groups. I've been working with groups that protest corrupt environmental policies. I used to be in youth against war and racism, and I was heavily involved with Amnesty International. I work with Sisters Camelot. We provide free organic groceries to homeless people. I'm also a Reiki healer, and I've had some very amazing spiritual experiences that I won't go into that too much.
Speak up, I can't hear you.
Closer to the mic.
I also have studied a lot of history, and I believe that I've seen imperialist empires rise, and I've seen imperialist empires fall. I believe that capitalism is inevitable to fall, and I feel like the corruption, the tyranny of the system is inevitable to leave our country in chaos. I believe. I also believe that why I was at the protest is because I believe that the Republicans are not living up to environmental standards, anyways, I'm going to talk a little bit about a lifelong resident of the city of St. Paul, and I'm here to relate to you my brutal experiences at the hands of the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office. During my detention, I was forced a number of times to go without food for many hours, to the point where I fainted and I was coughing up blood. After a point of going without food for 12 hours, a number of us chanted for food, and I was singled out by about a dozen guards who came into my cell, and one of which punched me in the face, right in the temple, knocking me unconscious. My head was then grabbed and smashed against the concrete floor, as you see in these spruce right here. If I hadn't mentioned yet, I'm 19 years old. I came back to consciousness in a pool of my own blood, and I was dragged away. I was taken into a hallway where a bag was put over my head, and it had a gag in the mouth. And I was taken into a detaining cell with no visible cameras. And officers then twisted my ankles and used pressure point tactics to torture me. They press right behind your ear, behind my ears. If you demonstrate that on yourself, you feel with only a few pounds of pressure. It hurts like no other pain I've ever felt in my life. And for all I know, for all I felt, they could have used all of their strength. And I was screaming, crying, begging God for mercy. One officer was even disgusting enough to say that your God is not with you right now. We are all devils. And this horrified me. taken to Regent's Hospital without being told where I was going. I wasn't sure if I was going to end up in a ditch or not. I was taken in a cop car and then they put me, with this bag on my head, I could barely see. I was very confused, and I had the netting around. It distorted my vision, and my concussion was setting into place. And at a point in that detaining cell at Regent's Hospital, where I was only wearing a t-shirt and it was freezing cold, I was sitting in the corner screaming and crying, begging for mercy and begging for them to let me go. I had vomited in this bag, and I begged them to take it off of my head, and they refused. In fact, they put a newspaper over the door so that they could not see me, but only hear me scream. They were laughing at me at that point. I was then crying for about 4 or 5 hours, and then a medical doctor came in, and he said that I would not receive treatment until I stopped crying. I told him that I wanted to speak with a social worker. I told him that they tortured me. I told him, please let me go. And he left. He left me in there. Well, no. At this point, it was comforting for even an officer to be in the room with me. While I was in there, the entire time I had zipped on my hands, handcuffed behind my back, and they did not let me. I could not drink any water. The faucet was facing down, and I asked them for water within the 6 or 7 hour period that I was in there, and every time I was denied. Eventually, the medical doctor came back and he was like, "Are you ready to stop crying?" And I found my screen down to a whimper. And they finally took me to Regent's Hospital hallway, and they walked me through all the employees, all the other citizens that were getting treated there. And it felt to me like a walk of humiliation. The vomit and blood dripping down my face. I then was chained to a bed, was refused to even use the bathroom, and made me pee in a cup. I repeatedly asked for a social worker, and they still denied me. Then they treated they gave me an x-ray for my ankle that the cops had twisted to make sure that it wasn't broken. And they cleaned out my wound where they had smashed my head. The concrete. Then I find these, and I refuse to treat what I believe as a confession. I find these acts to be illegal and a violation of my human rights. I will continue to fight for justice. I've also written a statement, a request for action to be taken to prevent things like these in the future. And I'll say it word for word. It's titled Community Request for Action Against Police Brutality. On behalf of my community and myself, I have a few requests for the City of St. Paul, the St. Paul Police Department, and the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office. I would like to see a new ethics policy for all city and county law enforcement, and it should be written with community input under a consensus-based process, including a non-discrimination policy with transparent and public processes for punishment of violations of the ethics policy. Number 2, community members should be able to view recent photos of all St. Paul police and Ramsey County Sheriff's officers and guards at all St. Paul jails and prisons, including names and badge numbers with pictures. It should be available online for public viewing. The reason for this request is so that all officers and guards that violate the new ethics policy can be identified. And for me, this would help me a lot because the officers would not tell me their names or their badge numbers, and they this hasn't been the first time that I've been beat up in jail. Number 3, the new review board of non-law enforcement community members should interview new officers with the power to do background checks, to veto their employment. They'll also give promotions and discipline current officers in a consensus-based process. All surveillance footage from all law enforcement departments should be available to the review board at all times. Number 4, surveillance in the Ramsey County Jail and all detaining cells at the Sheriff's Office, the St. Paul Police Departments should be improved so that there isn't anywhere that guards or officers can take inmates for secret feedings, torture, or interrogations.
Yes.
And all surveillance footage should be available for public viewing upon request with a deadline of 1 week. Number 5, dashboard cameras should be installed, dashboard cameras installed on all St. Paul Police and Ramsey County Sheriff's vehicles shall be running at all times with no ability to turn them off. All surveillance footage from vehicles should be available for public viewing upon request with a deadline of 1 week. Number 6, every law enforcement officer in the city should be required to pass classes on community mediation, since that is their role in our community, is to mediate. They should also be required to attend an open community forum about police brutality so that law enforcement officers will hear the stories and feel the effects that police brutality has on one's psychological health, one's family, and the surrounding community. And finally, I want a personal apology from Ramsey County Sheriff Bob Fletcher. I want an apology from Ramsey County Bob Fletcher for what happened to my community members and myself under his watch, including his justification of the criminal treatment of my community members and myself, and saying that I was, quote unquote, extremely disruptive for chanting for food. And they beat and tortured me in an attempt to silence my voice. I also, this isn't on here. Actually, sorry, I just slipped up. I also know all the community members that are in the RNCA, and I would like to see their charges dropped because I know them personally. I know they're good people, and they're righteous, and they act with love, and that those who oppress us will always dwell in hell, and those that are righteous will rise up.